Wait, what's going on? Welcome to the Lock Shop. I hit the wrong button and we just cut in right over the intro. So we're rocking and rolling. It's the Lock Shop on a Thursday. This is what happens when you take one day off, Huss. You hit the wrong button and all of a sudden everything's gone to shit right off the top, you know?
Well, you know what? I was just pulling up your Twitter. There's balloons all over the place. Happy birthday to the big guy.
Thanks, buddy. 42 years old today, my man. Yeah. I don't know. 42 is 42. I mean, this doesn't seem any special thing about 42, but
you look 35 and eat like an 8-year-old. So I got to tell you, you're still young at heart. That's
the secrets to my success: eating like a child makes you look a little bit younger. So that's good. Hey, Pat's gonna pop by. We're gonna talk some NHL. Obviously, Pat. We're gonna talk NFL draft, which is gonna be happening tonight. Man, dude, they got a lot of markets on the NFL draft over at Coolbet. You could spend the whole afternoon diving into that. So we'll get into some of that with Pat. I think we have to ask that whole question on the over-under draft position again. I always get very confused by that. It's nice to get that confirmed today. I was already looking at it today. I was like, So under 12 would be in the top 11 picks, and over 12 would be beyond that. But I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah, we'll get into that.
And then, of course, I'm looking at number of running backs taken in the first round, over 1.5, under 1.5. That should make sense to everyone.
That seems basic enough, right? I think.
You know what? And we'll go through these. The one thing that I think I love, and you can't screw this up, they've got markets for basically most of the top 10 picks. So who will go at number 7?
Yeah.
And then odds for all of them. So we talked about this for the last time we did a draft show, and you're right, it was a little bit confusing. So I think they've done a good job over at Coolbet in making things as easy as possible for the markets that there are. And we'll wait till Pat gets in here because we can sort of get into some of the movers and what we've seen in the odds. This is one thing that I spend a lot of time coming back to just to see where things are at, because odds can change so quickly for things like the draft with a legit report from someone that's got a lot of stroke.
Yeah.
So that has been happening quite a bit. So anyways, we will get to that. But Dusty, Jets are facing elimination tonight. I'll say this. We've seen a number of teams face elimination so far
and survive.
No one is dead yet. These road teams are finding a way. And I hope Winnipeg can do that tonight. But, man, how about the Islanders a couple days ago? And
Florida?
Listen, that was the ultimate Maurice game. I mean, they basically didn't have much business being in that game. And I'm not sure if you saw that breakaway by Brad Marchand with 2 seconds left. I mean, how does that even happen? But Bob, Mo, he always sides with the veterans, said, you know what, this is Bobrovsky's job to handle the pressure, and credit to Bob for getting that done last night. He's the reason why the Florida Panthers have another game at home coming up on the weekend.
Can he do it again? I don't know. As we get to these games tonight here, Huss, the one thing I said that, Tampa and Winnipeg both have going for them, and we haven't seen it yet from Vasilevsky, and I haven't paid as much attention to Hellebuck, but I mean, those are two guys who've been top 5 goaltenders in the NHL for a long time. You still have that. Like if Vasilevsky can figure it out, maybe Tampa can do it. If Hellebuck can go on a run, maybe Winnipeg can do it. So at least there you have that card to play, right?
Well, for sure. And I mean, I may as well get to my pick right now.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, I wasn't going to jump on a side on this one, but this is a bet on Connor Hellebuck. And this is an optimist. If this is an under, I think there's a good chance that the Winnipeg Jets are coming back to play a game 6, because it'll mean Connor Hellebuck was, the guy that we've seen. And listen, he has not been bad in this series by any stretch, but there's been a few bounces that have gone the other way. The margin between winning and losing is so tight when we're talking about things like double overtime. And the Jets find themselves in the situation that they're in right now. It's way more on Hellebuck's shoulders, though, because we don't know about Nikolai Ehlers. He hasn't played throughout this series. Even if he is able to go, how much does he have? We know Josh Morrissey's out. We know Mark Scheifele's out. I mean, the Jets are really up against it, against a very, very good Vegas team. So I'm going to take the under tonight, under 5.5. I'm going to bet on Hellebuck to do what he can do to try to give the Jets a best chance to come back and finally win a game in front of the white-clad crowd at home. That is the late game, but I'm going to stay on this trend of road teams so far. Now, Everyone knows, and Pat's going to be coming on. Don't hate. I have picked the Leafs to win the series. I picked them to win the series at the beginning. I've got a couple parlays with them. However, do we really trust the Toronto Maple Leafs just to take care of business simply, easily, at home in 5 games? And do we really think the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to basically get the gentleman's sweep where they won the first game and then rolled out four straight? I think we're going to see the best of the Lightning tonight. I think they will be playing, and there's no team that knows about playing for their playoff lives better than a team that's won the East the last 3 years. I still do think the Leafs get it done, but I actually think the trend continues on the road. I like the Leafs to win this one in 6. I think there's some good value with Tampa at plus 133 on the money line. I think they've got a couple punches left, and they'll throw them tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I'm taking the Lightning at plus 133. I'm going to stay with the road teams. A couple times we've had all, and I think we'll talk to Pat because there was a road exclusive that was like 14-1 a couple of days ago that I'm pretty sure came through. Jersey was a part of that. Well, the Rangers won 2 in New Jersey. Jersey won 2 in MSG. I'm not sure that the Devils have completely figured this all out. And I'm not convinced that Akira Schmid, who's been sort of the hero in these last 2 games, can continue to outduel Ilya Shesterkin. So Rangers on the money line at plus 106. And maybe the optimistic part of me might throw all 3 underdogs down on a little parlay and hope that that trend continues. And we get a couple more game 6s. If Tampa and Winnipeg are able to win tonight, it'll be the first time in a long time the first round has gone without any sweeps and any 5-game series. And that's the job of the Lightning and the Jets, to not be part of that group that are the first teams out tonight.
I'll get to my picks in a moment. Then we'll bring in Patty. Chaz, who joined me last night for the oil stream at Boston Pizza. He's watching on YouTube. He says he just needs Tampa to avoid elimination tonight to complete my 4 series over 5.5 games parlay at plus 520. So I do like that. That's not bad. I like that. So we'll see what happens there tonight. Everything you said about Tampa, I wanted to buy into, but I don't know. It just feels a little different this year, but I can't bring myself to bet on the Leafs. What are they, like minus 167 or something? Like it's a pretty big number on the money line for them. So I'm going to take what I think is the best bet in this series so far, over 6.5. I mean, 2 of these games have been 9. One of them has been 10, and the other one was 7. And you're getting the over 6.5 here at minus 111. So I'm going to avoid having to cheer for Toronto one way or the other, or be on Tampa Bay and have Toronto break my heart in more ways than one. And I'm just going to cheer for goals tonight, which I'm sure we'll probably get. So Toronto, Tampa, over 6.5 at minus 111. I bumped this number up. It's super chalky. If you're going to throw these into a parlay, though, this is what I would do. Rangers, Devils, under 6.5. They haven't gone over 6 in the series so far. And the last 2 games have been the 2 lowest scoring games. So under 6.5 there at minus 199. And, it actually works out well as a little 3-gamer. I think I pumped it in at like plus 458 because I love Winnipeg, Huss. Love coming there calling CFL games. I get it. But I'm going to get on Vegas in regulation here at minus 109 tonight. You guys have just been dealt a shitty hand. I mean, you lose Morrissey. Like you said, Ehlers going to play. What's he going to have here?
He might not. Yeah. He's been day to day. I mean, he practiced yesterday. We're hopeful. But
so hopefully he played. But if he doesn't, you're going into this game without Scheifele, without Ehlers, without Morrissey. I mean, nobody would expect them to win this game. So I'm going to get on Vegas in regulation here at minus 109. So Tampa, Toronto over 6.5, minus 111. Rangers, Devils under 6.5 at minus 199. It's a 5.5 number right now. If you want to snag it, you'll get the obviously much better value, which would really pump this parlay up. And then Vegas in regulation at minus 109 tonight. So let's should we go to Toronto though? Should we see where the vibes are at right now in Leafland?
Vibe check in the GTA.
Pat, look at this. That's a confident hand swing there. Wow. Tonight the night?
Boys. I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so, because the vibes won't be as high, but we're not worried about what happens if they don't win here. The vibes are high right now. It's sunny in Toronto. Taylor Pendrith, known huge Toronto Maple Leafs fan, Coolbet athlete, T1 right now at the Mexico Open.
Nice.
Everything is just coming up. Coolbet, everything's coming up Toronto right now. But no, in all seriousness, I feel like Tonight, obviously, the realist in me is saying, okay, and I think you said it, Dusty, this is going to be the best that we've seen from Tampa. I really do feel like that. Their backs are against the walls. Throw whatever cliches you want out there. But at the other side, and maybe this is my Toronto brain sneaking in saying, I feel like there have been a couple of times where we have seen Tampa's best and the Leafs have figured out ways to win. And that's something that this Leafs team has never been able to do before. Coming back from 4-1, winning a game where they were completely outclassed and completely outplayed. They find a way to win. So I don't know if this year's different, not necessarily just from a Toronto perspective, but also from a Tampa Bay perspective. Maybe the magic's gone. Maybe they don't have Vasilevsky has not looked like himself. And I think that is the biggest thing here. Can Vasilevsky turn back into Vasilevsky?
This is the worst I've ever seen him play. Right? Like he's been awful.
I mean, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. He has never been touched up like this before. And to be quite frank, if they're going to get back in this series, he's going to have to be the best player for Tampa. He's going to have to be the best player in this series. So, of course, no way am I betting Toronto tonight. No way am I thinking about it. I'm not going to bet on Tampa either. But I do kind of like that over 6.5.
Slide in on the over here, Patty. Like,
I probably will. The only issue is if Vasilevsky does stand tall, I think that's going to be a little bit of a lower number. But I mean, he could have an outstanding game, and it could be a 4-3 final. So for me, I'll probably lean that way. A couple props here and there, but I'm not touching the side with a 10-foot pole.
Hey, I just need to express another side here on this. And again, you haven't done it until you do it. The Leafs haven't done it yet, although they've looked great in these 3 games. But I couldn't help but look over at the series prices right now for this series right now.
Yes.
And it is somewhat ominous. I don't know. The Leafs number is minus 1667, which when you look at it, looks a lot like 1967.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I didn't want to bring that up. I did not want to bring that up.
And for those of you that observe, Tampa is plus 900 to win this series tonight. As I said, Pat, I am not a hater. I have picked the Leafs. I have invested in the Leafs to win pre-series. I think they do get it done. However, it's not over till it's over. And I'm sure there will be some people that might want to peruse those series numbers right now if they think that maybe what's happened. I mean, the crazy thing about this is this could easily be 3-1 the other way. Frankly, it probably should be 3-1 the other way.
Probably, yeah, you're right.
Consider the way the Leafs have done this Houdini act. So I think it's very premature to write off the Tampa Bay Lightning right now.
Of course.
And I think
I just put $25 at plus 900. It's 250. Yeah. I just I mean, I kill myself if I'm sitting here going, I should have got on it when Huss was talking about that day, being, an anti-Leaf guy myself. So I guess you got to kind of hop on that. But it's a good point, because I was listening, Pat, today. Was it my show? Not my show. Maybe it was my show. Anyway, they're talking about how, the Leafs probably haven't even technically played their best full game yet in this series, right? Which is a really good thing. You're up 3-1. You finally put together a full 60 minutes. You're going to lock this thing up at some point. But at the same time, like Huss said, I mean, Tampa could very well be up 3-1 in this thing.
Yeah, I think you could say probably game 2 was their best game, but also Tampa looked terrible that game as well. They were awful from the get-go and really couldn't figure things out. And that was probably... And it's insane to say they put up 7 that game. That might have been Vasilevsky's best game. They peppered Tampa Bay, but Hedman wasn't in the lineup. Chernak wasn't in the lineup. That D-core without those 2 guys. And say what you will with Hedman, I still don't think he's even close to being fully healthy right now. But that's the playoffs. Again, I certainly would think about sprinkling that 900 number as a happiness hedge. To maybe deal with the pain. But if you're going to do it now, get it in now, because I think that price slashes in half, if not more, because then the doubt starts creeping into the minds of everyone, the Leafs, the odds makers. If you want a little more juice, though, if you're a Leafs hater and you want a little more juice than just taking Tampa to win, there's an exclusive right now
Okay.
called Same Old Leafs. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, under 1.5 points, and Tampa to win plus 285.
Okay. All right. I like how you guys set that up. It's out there for people, right? They'll be same old Leafs. Got to see what ends up happening in that situation. So yeah, no, that'll be it's gonna be an interesting one tonight for sure.
By the way, credit much like the authors of the newspapers sometimes have beef with the headline writers. I have to give nothing but bouquets to the naming. The guys that are naming these bets right now. I know you and Jake's involved, but the Same Old Leafs exclusive will probably get some traction just from people that want to jump in on that. But I will say this: if you're a Leafs fan, I would really hesitate against that emotional hedge, because you will hate yourself even more for winning money if that happens again, and you may have to go and burn it. It may curse you. So I have faith, everyone. I'm just not entirely sure that it's a lock to happen tonight, even though that rink and downtown TO is going to be rocking, and I'm sure the excitement levels are as high as they've been in a long time. But we know what happens when you get very, very excited. There's always the possibility that you get very disappointed, and until it's done and that final buzzer of the fourth win is over, it's not done yet. And I mean, this is a hell of a team to try to finally finish in the Tampa Bay Lightning. No one has been able to do it in the Eastern Conference for 4 years right now, but the Leafs are above it.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off the hockey gods by throwing
that's the last thing you want
out there, right? So that's the last thing.
I've been hedging. I've been hedging that Lakers series the whole way. I've cashed 3 bets on the Grizz, whether it be winning or I just basically I'm like I love you guys know I love LeBron James. I just figure out how much money I'm willing to lose to see the Lakers and LeBron win, and then I bet that on the Grizz, and so far it's been going pretty well. So yeah, it's worked out okay so far. So I've been working on that. Hey, NFL draft tonight too, Patty.
Yes.
Anything jumping off the page for you? Where are you leaning? What are you already on? How are you going to break this one down?
This one, I'm really interested in this draft. Again, within the last couple of days, a lot of smoke signals has moved odds around. So I haven't really sprinkled too much in the last few days. Like when the odds first came out, I had a few, but I'm glad that I waited on one of them. Michael Mayer, Notre Dame tight end. This guy is an absolute freak. He's not the best athlete by any stretch of the imagination. He's not the fastest. He's got unbelievable hands, though. He runs an amazing route, and he's probably the best blocking tight end in this draft. I watched a lot of them playing for the Fighting Irish. Like, this guy is an absolute beast, just a football player. With that being said, although I said he's not the most athletic tight end in this draft, he's still a very athletic player. This morning, he was down to minus 110 at Coolbet. He's now up to 160. But if you check a lot of the other books, he's at minus 190, minus 200. So I saw that value this morning. And again, I threw out a tweet. Obviously, a lot of people must have jumped on it as it's already moved. That's my favorite bet. I really, really like that one as well. Another one that I really like, Zay Flowers to be the first wide receiver drafted. I think it was like at plus 300, 260, somewhere in that range. From Boston College, very undersized, but a guy that was a 3-star recruit heading to Boston College. But all he's done is produce. He's been an absolute monster. And there's a lot of smoke going around that New England are looking at him as well. So he's a guy, it's a little bit of a longer shot at plus 300. The prices maybe has moved since then, but I really like him. I think that there's a few teams that are really trying to target him. And when there's a lot of smoke out there trying to figure out, okay, there's a guy that multiple teams want, that usually is those guys that you go up and trade for. So I like the value there. With that being said, I put a little Greggy's draft special together. Yes. Michael Mayer, first tight end drafted. Zay Flowers, first wide receiver drafted, plus 530. So.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, you have to like that. Yeah, that Mayer number is pretty crazy. I mean, everywhere I look, he's being mocked middle of the first round. There's not another tight end anywhere around there. So
that Dalton Kincaid, I've seen going to the Packers in a couple, as high as the Packer pick, although I'll get to a couple picks that I have, and it does not involve him going to the Packers at that point. It has them doing a little bit of a farewell gift to Aaron Rodgers and finally picking a wide receiver in the first round for the first time since 2002.
That would be so classic.
I may as well get to this right now. I've got a few in, and listen, it would take us an hour to get through all of the markets right now.
Yeah.
But just quickly before I do the picks, Pat, this NFL draft in particular, to me, is so fascinating from a betting standpoint because of the way the odds move. I was 2 a.m. last night. I was looking at it, and you look now, and there's been like major changes already. Seems like Will Anderson is more likely to be there. CJ Stroud's stock is falling. But honestly, I mean, the odds makers can only base this on so much. And really, I mean, there's a few key insiders or reports. And the minute these reports come out, it can absolutely change like a tidal wave on some of these drafts. So, I mean, if you've got a good feeling about a player and you like the number, get it. If not, maybe wait to see if there's a little more smoke, because I think we know there's a ton of BS that gets floated around by GMs and many people, for whatever reason, they've all got theirs, but there's a lot of covert operations, and it can show up with big movements in the lines.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you mentioned, some of the line movement. It's like on a daily basis, I'm waking up and seeing just different things move. Like Will Levis the other day was 35-1 to be the first overall pick. Someone went on Reddit on one of the draft forums and said, I know Will Levis and his family, and he's been reaching out to family and friends saying he's going first overall. Bunch of people just start hammering money for him to go first overall. The odds completely shift. It's like plus 650. There's no way Will Levis is going first overall. I'm sorry. He's just not going first overall. But there's so much smoke and fire out there. You don't know what to believe, and it's thrown out there. And the odds makers have to do their job and protect themselves. And if a ton of sharp money comes in on a guy, the line's got to move. So just be careful with the line movement. Don't read into too much, because a lot of that time it's the amount of money, the sharp money, the public money, wherever that is coming. That also plays a big role into a lot of the line movement and shifting. But it obviously makes the night itself a lot more interesting. I'll be honest, I'm kind of pissed off the Leafs are playing tonight, because the draft is one of my favorite nights. I'm not going to be as dialed in.
I said the same thing about the Jets.
Yeah. Right. Like, yeah, it's too bad.
I'm at least happy we got a 9 o'clock game, so we at least get the first couple hours in. And frankly, it will maybe take my mind off the stress that my team is facing elimination, and this could be it if they don't get a win tonight with everything else happening around the team. So it should be good. Let me just quickly fire out the picks that I've got in for you. To me, the most fascinating player in this draft is Anthony Richardson. I mean, he was the darling of the combine and basically set new standards for quarterbacks. And I can't help but think that there is going to be a team that is going to jump at him much earlier. And I think, we can talk about, his completion rate, and he only played the 13 games. And we've seen teams jump the pick. Mitch Trubisky was in a similar situation like this before, although certainly didn't have the numbers that he had. There's a combination of sort of like a Jalen Hurts aspect with this guy. I mean, with what he does as an athlete. And then the fact that he was playing in Florida and didn't play a lot. I think they think that he is a guy that, could be like the biggest home run maybe in the draft. Now, is that going to get him at number one? Probably not, but there's so many QB needy teams. But to me, the team that's the most interesting is the Seattle Seahawks, sitting at 5. They've got another pick later on. They've signed Geno Smith to a deal, which is probably the best quarterback deal signed, because it's essentially 3 deals. If they want to get out of it after this year, they certainly can. And I think that would be the perfect situation to bring in a player like that, to learn from a guy like Gino, who does a lot of things really well, to be able to compete. And I know there's a lot of talk about the guy from Georgia that's fallen down a little bit that Seattle's going to jump on. I'm not sure that he gets past number 5. So I've got a pick in for Anthony Richardson to be a top 5 pick. That would allow me, I mean, if the Colts all of a sudden pull a side swipe and go with him, I think that's possible at 4. And it's not even out of the question that the Texans jump on him, assuming that Bryce Young goes number 1 to the Carolina Panthers. So plus 125 on Richardson to be a top 5 pick. I like that one. I do have a pick in on Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive tackle, to go number 3 to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals are going to try to get out of this pick. I mean, they are trying to trade it. It just doesn't seem like they've had a lot of success with it so far. I think the smartest move for them is to keep Kyler Murray upright, under this new regime, take care of business on the offensive line. So they go with Johnson. I've got a running back prop. We know this Bijan Robinson from Texas is, apparently, an all-world guy that I think certainly has first-round talent. Whether the position is valued enough to get him there, we'll see. I think he is, but I don't think anyone else is. And under 1.5 running backs in the first round is plus 275. We've heard some other names that might get in there. I'm not sure that there's teams that are willing to be. Look at the Chiefs. They were a team that, they had this great season. They got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in with that late first-round pick. He's been very underwhelming, and you're basically winning the Super Bowl with a 7th-rounder in Pacheco or whatever he was, and, a couple free agents. So the position of running back has just been so diluted as far as the value of it. Robinson, I think, is a first-rounder. I'm not sure anyone else goes running back over some of the other more key, scarce positions that are available. So I love the value on that. Under 1.5 running backs, plus 275 for the game, for the draft tonight. Hendon Hooker, Tennessee quarterback, should be ready for the start of the season. He's not part of that top group, but there's a lot of teams that really like him. One of the cool things that Coolbet has is for a number of players, picking the team that is going to draft them. Doesn't necessarily need to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I like the Washington Commanders for Hendon Hooker. I think that the proximity to Tennessee, I think they've had a good look at him. Their quarterback situation right now is not one of bringing a guy in to start right away. I've heard, from a number of insiders that they've really liked him and had their eye on him for a while. So at 12-1, whether they do it early in the first round or potentially get some value and have to move up earlier in the second, I think he's a guy there. So took a little bit of a swing at him at 12-1. And then the other pick, and this is almost just for the comedy of it, I mentioned it before, Aaron Rodgers. Hell, they traded up to take Jordan Love while having Aaron Rodgers. They passed on the likes of Justin Jefferson, who haunted them the last couple years. And now that Aaron Rodgers is gone, he did a lot of FUs to the Packers organization over the offseason. I think they give him one on the way out and draft Jackson Smith-Jigba from the Ohio State University. That pick, the Jackson to Smith-Jigba to go to the Green Bay Packers, is plus 250. I think the Packers, after that pick swap with the Jets, get him at 13 and say, good luck in New York, Aaron. Too bad you weren't here to play with this incredible, talented, young first-round receiver. A bit of a change from Green Bay, but they really do need that. And frankly, they're going to need to help Jordan Love as well. So those are 5 picks I've got already locked in. They may add a few more, but as I say, you can sit in front of that and fire away all afternoon, Patty, because there is a lot on the table.
No shortage of things to bet. I just quickly, Bijan Robinson, I'm going to get him at 7-1 to end up Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's 8-1 being the Eagles, 7-1 to go 10th. They got like a bonus pick, right? Wow. They're a really good team. They got a couple of picks. I know they brought in Rashad Penny, but that dude can never stay healthy. Then they've got Gainwell and Boston Scott, who only scores touchdowns against New York Giants. If you can add a guy who could come in and have an impact like Saquon Barkley did to an offense that has Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't when it's basically an extra pick that you should, like, they're the one team that I think could use a pick on a running back early because of the luxury that they have right now. So I like the fact that it's 7-1. So I'll probably get on that at 7-1. That'll be the one for sure. So
I really like that one there. Huss, to maybe throw devil's advocate at one of yours. The only thing that scares me about the under on the running backs, and again, it's hard to believe, and there's so much stuff that's just thrown out there. You don't know what's what. But Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama, there's a lot just last minute talk of him being a late round, first round pick. A lot of interest from the Buffalo Bills, and depending on what happens, if a guy that the Bills really don't like come to them, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and grab him, just because 2 months ago when Bijan Robinson was projected to be near the end of the first round, that was like the sexy pick for the Bills. But Robinson had such a great combine. He's had so many good tryouts, and his interviews have gone so well that now his stock is through the roof. That's the only one thing that would scare me. I still think it's a safe play. Running backs, just when it comes to draft, not nearly as valuable. The flip side, I'm going to go with you on that one pick. Anderson, you said to be a top 5 pick. Might as well pair it with this one as well. Anthony Richardson, plus 500 to go 5th overall.
Yes.
Because I think there you laid it out perfectly. Well, why not get a little bit better odds and get it for the exacta with that 5th pick overall at plus 500? I love that one.
I think Seattle's the team, and especially
if
he turns out to be a home run QB, let's not forget why they have that pick. They weren't that bad last year. That's the Broncos pick that came over in the Russell Wilson trade. So,
it keeps getting juicier, guys. And this is what the beauty, like, shout out to our odds makers. They absolutely knocked this out of the park. Seattle Seahawks to draft. Where I just lost it. See, there's too much going on. Where did Seahawks to draft? I'll pull it up. But see, you can also pick Seahawks to draft him as well, and you get a little bit better odds. Jahmyr Gibbs, though, we don't have odds for him to be drafted to the Bills. I'm going to get that one done up because I really do believe that they're going to go running back, because I think a couple of the offensive tackles that they're looking at and defensive linemen that they're looking at as well, I just feel like they're not going to be where they want. And I think the Bills are at a point now where they have a good enough core where they can kind of take a risk with a late first rounder like that.
Excellent. Well, it's going to be good stuff, Pat. Enjoy the Leafs game tonight and the NFL draft, how much you can get. Huss, you too, guys. And we'll be back with another episode of The Lock Shop on Friday. Talk to you later, boys.
Take it easy.